You probably know by now that genetics make a massive difference when it comes to how your physique looks, and I'm going to prove it to you today. When I first started training, I saw Alex Eubank's physique and I thought, wow, I need to look like that. After a little while of training, I realised that that will never happen. But I think the fact that I aspire to look like him means that I've turned out how I have. You see, genetics play a huge role in the way your physique looks, and I'm going to show you that today. So as you can see from this picture here, I used to have no chest. Like seriously, my chest was flat, and it was always something that, especially seeing like Alex Eubank's physique, I really wanted his chest. I wanted a huge chest, and I didn't realise that the reason why his chest looks the way it does is genetics. And as you can see from this, I had no chest. But now, I've got a decent chest. Like you can see from this picture here, I've got a decent chest. However, it's never going to be as big as I want it to be, and that's the thing with genetics. You can't outrun your genetics, but the fact that I tried to outrun it meant that my chest actually developed the way it did, and so I'm quite happy with it now. Let me show you something else. So this is a video from today where I was doing bicep curls. I have decent arms. They're like probably one of my stronger points from my physique. I only ever do standing bicep curls. Now, if you ask someone, oh, what's the best exercise for arms? They're probably going to say something like an incline seated dumbbell curl because you get a good stretch in your biceps. I never do that. Like occasionally I will mix it up, but I've grown my biceps from just doing standing dumbbell curls. That just shows the power of genetics, because there'll be someone else who doesn't actually genetically have good arms, so they have to actually try very hard, and they can't just do that one exercise and they'll blow up. Now, to prove my point even more, let me show you my shoulders. So I mean, you can see from this, like, I have decent shoulders, and this is the exercise that I do for shoulders. That's it. Standing dumbbell lateral raises. I have obviously experimented with other stuff, but the main way I grew my shoulders was from doing standing dumbbell lateral raises. Now again, if you ask someone, oh, what's the best exercise for shoulders, they would say cable lateral raises, because you can put the tension in the lengthened position, which is the most important when it comes to hypertrophy. But being someone who has good shoulder genetics, I don't need to do that. It's not important. And then we go back to Alex Eubank. He has openly said he doesn't do many working sets for his chest. It's just always blown up. He doesn't really have to focus on it too much, and it looks amazing. Like, I'm jealous. So all that to say, when it comes to certain muscle groups, people have it easier than others, and sometimes your genetics will just be fucked. If we take a look at this picture from me when I was younger, I had that kind of skinny ripped build, so I had a perfect base to actually build muscle, whereas you take someone who doesn't look like that before the gym and they have to work a lot harder to still look good. And if you think your genetics are bad, you might be right, but there are things you can do to help yourself, and you should always try and beat your genetics. Because for me, for example, my chest, if I had just decided, oh, I don't have a good chest naturally, I'm not going to focus, I'm just going to give up, then I wouldn't have grown the way I have. You should never let your genetics actually limit your potential growth, because getting in your head about how you look will stop you growing. You should always believe that you can do more than what you actually can. It's funny, I remember when I first started the gym, I saw Alex Eubank and I also saw Mike Thurston. I remember thinking when I started, as long as I worked hard, I could look like them. I thought the only way Mike Thurston looks the way he looks is because he's just been going to the gym longer and he's done better exercises and he knows what he's doing more, which, you know, partly true. Maybe he's doing some other stuff as well, which is why. But the point is, the fact that I believed that one day I could look like that meant that I actually put the work in to look as good as I personally can. And you have to be happy with yourself at all stages. Even when I was skinny, I thought I was jacked. Like, obviously I knew I wasn't huge, but I thought I looked pretty good. You have to be happy with yourself at all stages. Even if your genetics are bad, you can't change that. So the best solution that you have is to work with what you've got, be happy with how you are, and then just improve yourself over time. Even if your genetics are shit, you can still work really hard and look better than you did when you first started. You're not a lost cause. These people who just blame their genetics for being small, it's not an excuse. I mean, look at Joe Fraser, for example. He clearly doesn't have amazing genetics. Insertions aren't great, he finds it hard to bulk up, but he's pretty huge now. Like, he's done it. And imagine if when he first started he said, oh, you know what, actually my genetics aren't that great, I'm probably just gonna not bother. He'd still be skinny, he'd still be feeling a bit self-conscious, not the person he is now. So even though you can't change your genetics, you should still fucking try to outwork them. If you let your genetics limit you, you're not gonna get anywhere. And I'm sure you want a bit of practical advice on how you can actually work around poor genetics. I will speak from experience with my chest, because that's something that I never used to have a good chest. It was always a lagging body part. The first thing I want to say is, if you've got a lagging body part, if you've got something that's behind because you think of genetics is the reason for it, it might just be because you don't actually know how to execute exercises correctly to hit that muscle properly. So for me, for example, I was just using my shoulders every time I benched. I didn't realise, but that's why my shoulders are growing and my chest wasn't. As soon as I decided, right, you know what, I'm going to start pre-exhausting. And by the way, pre-exhausting, amazing. What that means is you basically get a pump in that muscle before you do any working sets. So you probably do like an isolation isolation move before doing any pressing. In this case, if your chest is small, do an isolation move first, do a pec deck to get a pump, and then go into working sets of pressing, because then when there's blood in the muscle, you feel it a lot more. So if you've got small lats, for example, rather than going straight into a bent over row, maybe do some cable pullovers first, just to, as an isolation, get some blood in the actual lats. Then you want to try and max out working sets. I don't mean do 500 sets for this muscle group per week. That's not what I mean. I mean do the maximum amount of volume you can recover from. That kind of goes for any muscle, but if you do have something that's suffering, do as much as you can that you can still recover from, because you probably just need to add an extra couple sets. And also, like, I want to say this as well, if you've been training less than maybe 2 or 3 years, you don't have any lagging muscle groups. Your whole body is lagging. You just need to increase muscle everywhere, and maybe once you do that, that lagging body part won't feel like a lagging body part anymore. But it is worth saying, the whole point of this video is that I don't want you to let your genetics limit you, because it's so easily done, and it's so easy for people to just give up because they think they're not going to be able to get to where they want to be. Trust me, even if you have poor genetics, if you build the best physique you possibly can, I guarantee you'll be happy with it, and you'll look back and think, thank fuck I did that. If you just give up because you don't look like Mike Thurston, you don't have his genetics, you don't have his insertions, you don't have his ability to build muscle, then you're going to get nowhere. Like, your limiting beliefs about your genetics are holding you back. So if you think this might be you, maybe you just need someone by your side to actually motivate you and support you through your whole journey. If that's the case, there's a link below for my coaching. No pressure, just have a look. If you're not interested, that's fine. But yeah, that's pretty much the end of the video. YouTube is pretty good at recommending a video for you. So click here, I think it's here. Click here for the next video. Watch something else. I uploaded the video the other day, so maybe that will show up. Who knows? But yeah, click that video. Go on, click it. See you in the next one.